Kyle, how would you describe yourself to someone who's never met you in 3 words?
Oh, Emily, this is why dating profiles suck. This is why I'm single, frankly.
You don't have to, like, entice the person. You just need to boil
Emily,
yourself down
I want
to 3
every
words.
stranger to be sexually attracted to me. The concept of me. If I had to boil myself down to 3 words, I don't know.
I'm gonna count.
Quirky, short king.
Love it. Perfect. True.
Why? How would you describe yourself in 3 words, Emily?
The 3, because I obviously had time to come up with this ahead of time.
Thanks.
I had creative, thoughtful, glasses. Those are the 3 defining characteristics of Emily.
I like how you are glasses through metonymy in this.
I am. I absolutely am.
Welcome to Butter No Parsnips. Every week on Butter No Parsnips, your hosts Emily Moyers and Kyle Imperator take you on an adventure through the weird, wacky, wonderful, and sometimes even wicked world of one wayside word. Strange characters, delightful bits, and general joyousness abound. Join them as they test each other's etymological expertise.
And I'm Kyle Imperator, and you're
Emily Moyers.
And this is
Butter No Parsnips.
3 words. Wow.
That describes us both in 3 words. Hey, everybody. Welcome.
Emily, I expect to have 3 words today to guess.
I'll be honest, Kyle. Over the course of this episode, you're going to have more than 3 words.
Oh. Now,
but let's start with
my
one.
expectations have been blown out of the water, but perhaps in a bad way.
It's a be careful what you wish for situation. But let's start small, Kyle. Let's start with 1 word.
Yeah, lay it on me.
The 1 word that I have for you is quiddity. Quiddity. Quiddity.
Quiddity?
This look of confusion is a relief to me. I was worried you might have heard this word.
I mean, it sounds familiar, but also because it sounds like if Lewis Carroll were the first to come up with Quidditch.
Yeah.
It's like unrefined, not magic based, just
kooky.
Water polo on clouds. Quiddity is like someone named D who keeps doing things you don't like.
Quiddity.
Quiddity! I guess it's probably T. Is it Quiddity?
Yeah, like quit it, Teresa, but you call her T.
Wow.
Quiddity.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. That's the only T name that you would call T. That and Trunculus.
Yeah. How is Trunculus, by the way, Kyle?
Trunculus, he's doing great, actually. He just moved to Botswana.
Kyle, you gotta guess what this word means.
I have to guess what this word means. So quiddity, a noun?
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that this is like a state of being or a concept.
Yeah.
Can it also be used countably?
Yes, it can.
So there are quiddities.
There are quiddities.
Can you quidditize?
No, I don't think so.
Can something be quidditesimal?
No, but something can be quiddish, which is definitely someone's rough draft of Quidditch.
That's like, it's like Quidditch, but it's only Quiddish.
Yeah.
You know?
Or that's like somebody who never read the books and is like, yeah, what's the sport Harry Potter play? Quidditch?
Quidditch? They ride around on mops or something?
Yeah, I never saw it.
Okay, quiddity. I'm going to take a guess and then you're going to give me a hint because I got literally nothing to go on. Quiddity is it just the ability to describe something briefly?
It is not, but I like where your head's at.
Okay.
The clue that I have is being.
Being. So quiddity is...
So let me also tell you, Kyle, this is a Latin-derived word, and that might actually help you in this case.
Quid. Five.
Nope, that's quint.
Oh.
Quid.
4.
Nope.
6?
No, it's not a number, buddy.
Not a number? quid.
No.
Pro quo. Oh.
This is going to be the entire episode.
We're on something. Quid pro quo, if I remember, means... God, I don't remember what quid pro quo means. It means
We'll
you
talk
get
about it
something
later.
for nothing. It means you're getting something in exchange for something.
Yeah, I guess maybe I've led you astray, but...
And so quiddity is, ready? Being exchanged for something. There we go. That's the answer.
You got it. Perfect.
Emily, what is quiddity? Tell me.
Quiddity is the inherent nature or essence of a person or thing. That which makes something what it is its quiddity.
So the meanness of me.
Yeah. The Kyleness
is my quiddity.
Is your quiddity. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. That's a really good word.
It's a fun word.
For like a very deep concept, frankly.
We're gonna talk philosophy today, Kyle, for sure.
Nice. Lay on some Sartre here.
So, quiddity came to English through French, as many of our Latin words did. But ultimately, it was derived from the medieval Latin word quidditas, spelled the same as quiddity, but with an AS, sometimes with one D, sometimes with two. Quidditas formed around the 1100s and became more common in the 1200s. It was derived from the classical Latin word quid. Kyle, you said it earlier, but do you recognize the word quid from anywhere?
I do recognize the word quid. It's also in squid. I don't know if that helps at all.
No, it doesn't, buddy.
I should.
Quid pro quo. Do you know what it literally translates to?
I mean, is pro for? Is it something for something?
It is. So a lot of times what people will say is this for that. A more accurate version is just what for what. Yeah.
All right.
I guess just like a thing for a thing. Quid, more accurately than this, translates to what. It was, in classical Latin, it was an interrogative or a question word. And thus quidditas is typically translated or defined as whatness.
Whatness?
The whatness of a thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it's what it is.
Honestly, whatness is a good definition for quiddity.
Yeah.
Wow, good. Good. This is all good stuff.
So quidditas and later quiddity were words used by medieval philosophers to describe the qualities that define something as being what it is. So I'll walk you through an example. Kyle, what is a tree?
Oh boy.
Tough.
Like, do you want like a botanical definition?
However you approach the question, what is a tree?
Is a large, imposing creature with a thick hide and wisdom for days.
So those qualities, sort of all of them together, would be the quiddity of a tree, or its treeness.
Is the combination of all of its qualities.
Yeah. The things that make us say that right there, that's a tree.
Is it important that we're thinking of like the qualities as being separate from other qualities? Like, can two things have the same quiddities? Can you have Kyleness?
I could, but it would be Kyleness, you know? Like, it wouldn't be Emily-ness if I were exhibiting Kyleness.
It wouldn't be quiddity if you had Kyleness.
I mean, we're getting
I've
deeply
derailed this episode 10 minutes in.
Deeply philosophical. Yeah, I think it's the qualities that separate it from all other things. So the quiddity of a tree is different from the quiddity of a bush.
And the quiddity of a bush gets it elected.
Yes, but only sometimes.
But only in the 80s and 2000s.
Yep, you got it. The difficulty in describing a tree is a good way to bear out the fact that I think quiddity was often used in cases where the qualities that make a thing could not be easily defined. Like the sort of ineffable tree-ness.
The je ne sais quoi.
The je ne sais quoi is the quiddity of a thing. Gotcha. This is also borne out in a poem written in the early 1600s by poet and priest George Herbert titled The Quiddity.
Yes.
My God, a verse is not a crown, no point of honor or gay suit, no hawk or banquet or renown, nor a good sword, nor yet a lute. It cannot vault or dance or play, it never was in France or Spain, nor can it entertain the day with a great stable or domain. It is no office, art, or news, nor the exchange or busy hall, but it is that which, while I use, I am with thee, and most take all.
Oh,
That's the capital T.
that's lovely.
Yeah.
That's really nice. And you know what? I mean, religion is a really good place for quiddity because there's a lot of abstract beings, concepts that mean a lot of things.
Yeah, Kyle, you segued me perfectly. A lot of the early uses of quidditas and quiddity that I could find were in a religious context and often talking about the quiddity of God.
Sure.
The godliness of God. I have another quote here from 1513 by a theologian and diplomat named John Ireland. I should say that's the only name that we know him by, because a historian from the 1600s thought he was Irish and called him Johannes de Irlandia. He was in fact Scottish. And despite the fact that we know that now, we still call him John Ireland.
I mean, it's his nickname at this point.
That's it. It's too late. But literally, the book I'm about to read a quote from was written in Scots, the language. Yeah. Possibly the earliest example of original Scots prose. Fun fact.
Wow.
Yeah. It is called The Mirror of Wisdom, but spelled crazy because it's from 1513.
Yeah.
It was like a book of advice for King James III of Scotland. But I guess at some point he got on the topic of God because he was also a theologian. And he says, quote, "And since he is so high in nature, in his entity and deity, man's wit may not come to the perfect knowledge of his quiddity and deity."
I'm sorry, he's talking about who in this book?
He's the Lord. That's the capital H, he.
John Ireland, parentheses, Scotland, is talking about the Lord and giving this advice to the king?
To the King James, yes.
A little presumptuous.
That you can't know God. No one can know his quiddity.
You think you know me? You don't know me till you know my quiddity.
No, he's talking about
out, B.
You won't know God's quiddity.
Yeah. That's God speaking.
No, this is John Ireland speaking.
Yeah, but God's speaking for me right now. I'm like, get with the times.
Okay. So, quiddity came out of a medieval school of thought called Christian scholasticism. Have you run across this in your wordly research, Kyle? Because I think you have. What if I told you it is a subgenre of the larger school of philosophy called metaphysics?
Metaphysics.
Do you know what metaphysics is in philosophy?
It's physics about physics.
Sorta, but in a very existential kind of a way.
Was that like Nietzsche existential?
He was into metaphysics, as well as many other schools of philosophy. But metaphysics is like the big existential questions, like what makes something what it is? How do I know I exist? What is the universe made out of?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Descartes, I think, therefore
Descartes,
I am.
Yeah. I took a
yes.
whole class on this in college. You can see how much I remember.
Yeah, a lot of the foundations of metaphysics come from Aristotle, who we talked about some of his work in episode 88, Elam, which incidentally is what the universe is made out of.
That is, Elam is the quiddity of the universe.
Yeah, Christian scholasticism, which came about during the medieval era, essentially sought to marry classical metaphysics and reason and logic to the Judeo-Christian faith. They would apply the arguments of mostly Aristotle, but others too, in order to explain and defend concepts in Christianity.
Sure, that makes sense. I mean, Aristotle, like I'm thinking a lot of that was like logic-based reasoning for why we exist and all that. So it makes sense that they would want to kind of justify some of the religious beliefs that they were holding at that time within like the construct of scientific reasoning. Within the larger frameworks of like how we came to exist. And we talked about that too in Conjuries when we were talking about like particles and molecules and that relation to why we exist and all that. It's fun stuff.
Yeah, there have been a lot of like times in history where like trying to marry together science and religion has been like a major movement. This is just one of them. Some of your more famous Christian scholastics in the medieval era include St. Thomas Aquinas, Bonaventure, William of Ockham, famous for Occam's razor, John Duns Scotus. If you want to hear us gab about him, check out episode 19 of our Patreon podcast. It was a good one.
Great hat.
Yep, great hat on Duns Scotus. Regardless, because metaphysics and Christian scholasticism deal a lot with like the nature of being, there are actually several words within this field for like what we would call the essence of a thing. Quiddity is not the only one. They all kind of hover around the same idea, but with slightly different meanings. So Aristotle had a concept called hypokamenon.
Oh, we've talked about this. Hypokamenon.
Yeah, it's sometimes spelled with a U.
And it means above something, over, under. Is it subject? Is that where we get subject from?
Yeah, yes. So
the English word subject, right?
I think so. So it literally means that which lies beneath. I've seen it defined as like subject or substance. Yeah. In Aristotle's writings, it referred to the essence that persists in a thing that is evolving. So like as a thing outwardly changes, the thing that stays the same, the substance of it is its hypokamenon.
Oh, that's fun. That's good.
Yeah. So you might say perhaps the hypokamenon of a caterpillar persists even once it has transformed into a butterfly.
Sure.
There is an essence within that stays the same.
Of that, like, individual.
I don't know if this one is on an individual level or a group level, because some of them are, like, Quiddity is on a group level. We're going to talk about that in just a sec. Quiddity might be a translation of another Aristotelian concept, toti esti, or toti en inai, which meant the what it is, or the what it was to be. And that's why quiddity is derived from what, as in the what it is.
Sure.
It's like a calque from the Greek. But there was another word used by the medieval Christian scholastics, which was actually particularly associated with John Duns Scotus. Hexiety. Have you come across that one?
Yeah. I came across that one when I was accidentally looking into Duns Scotus when we all looked into Duns Scotus at the same time. I can't remember what it is, but I remember that that's like his big thing.
It is, yes.
Is it like, I want to say it has something to do with like randomness, but I might be random out there.
Well, so like Duns Scotus had a more specific definition for this term than what I'm about to talk about.
Of course,
because he wrote a ton about it, and this was like a well-used term by Scotists. But basically, it's hexiety is Haecceity, comes from the Latin word haec, Haec, meaning this or these. So while quiddity is whatness, hexiety is often defined as thisness. Thisness. Yep. In terms of the definition, hexiety is like the essence of an individual thing. So like your Kyle-ness is your hexiety.
My hexiety.
The example I had written down is you might discuss the quiddity of a podcast, but the hexiety of butter no parsnips.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
You know, the quiddity is the type of thing. The hexiety is the individual.
It's a very fine distinction, but
it is.
But useful, unnecessary.
And then, in addition to quiddity and hexiety, just quickly, from at least the 1600s, there was also quodity.
Quodity.
Yes.
Like Quodity.
Yep.
Oh, two Ds.
Two Ds.
It's just quiddity with an O.
It's just quiddity with an O. And that comes from the Latin word quod, which meant that. So in addition to whatness and thisness
and thatness,
we've got thatness. And near as I can tell, quodity meant the same as hexiety. It was like the individual essence of a thing.
But further removed.
Yeah.
Thisness is like the thing I have in front of me. Thatness is like that thing over there.
That guy over there, yeah. I don't know what's going on to him, but it's real specific to that guy.
The thatness of that thing. I don't like it.
Yeah, but I like the thisness of this thing.
Yeah.
Wrapping us back around to quiddity, Kyle, this word has several other definitions that have nothing to do with philosophy at all.
Insane.
Yep.
Insane.
They must have stemmed from the philosophical definitions in some way, because I couldn't find like a separate etymology for any of these meanings. And the definitions are like sort of close enough that you can maybe see a through line.
We'll assume a through line until other evidence is presented.
Until proven guilty, yeah. As early as the 1500s, quiddities could be quibbles, subtle or trivial arguments.
Quibbles and quarks.
Quibbles and quiddities. Quibbles and cavils.
I love that.
Cavils and quiddities. Yeah.
And punctilios.
Yeah. I have an example from a quote from 1579. He saith he will not use the quiddities of the schools, but plain examples. So no like subtle, brainy arguments. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
layman's
I think,
terms.
But like the quiddities is the opposite. It's like not layman's terms. Right. Yeah. I think that is probably the link, because it's like if you're being really heady and philosophical, you're quibbling, maybe.
That sounds about right.
That's the
it
logic
also just
in my
sounds like quibble. So
that may literally be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. From there, quiddities also came to mean quips, witticisms, or fast talking, as used in this quote from a 1789 poem, "His jibes and his quiddities, cranks and his wiles."
So you're telling me quiddity can mean quibble, but it can also mean quip.
Yep. And I'm not done. Stemming from those two, as a mass noun, a person's quiddity could also refer to their ability or tendency to use quibbles and quips, basically like their subtlety or their tact in conversation. As used in this quote from 1602, "How shall ever those come in heaven that have neither quality of body to get it, nor quiddity of wit to keep it?"
I've been asking that question since I found out what quiddity is.
So for the past half an hour? Yeah.
Yeah.
And last one, as early as the mid-20th century, it might be earlier, that's just the earliest quote that was in the OED, quiddities could mean quirks. As used in this quote from 1978, "It is a weakness of Oxford to waste too much sentiment on quirks and quiddities."
So you're telling me that quiddities can mean quips, it can mean quibbles, it can mean quirks.
Yep. And across all of those definitions, the word very often appears as part of an alliterative phrase. So it shows up as quibbles and quiddities, quips and quiddities, quirks and quiddities.
It's like almost as if the word was created just because they needed...
They wanted a pair of words in their essay, and this worked.
Yeah. You know what? Quiddity sounds like it'll fit right in there. What is it? What is quiddity?
Exactly.
That's exactly it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a vague enough word that no one really knows what it means, so you can kind of slip it in anywhere. And also one more that I'm going to sneak in here. I don't know if it's related to quiddity, but Green's Dictionary of Slang has an adjective, quiddish, used in the mid-1700s with the meaning good-natured. Green lists the etymology unknown, and to be fair, I am completely speculating blindly, but I feel like there's a possible link. There's a logic.
So you think what's the logic? Because I don't know if I'm following.
Like if somebody is quiddish,
because they're
quippy, they're quirky, they're
quirky.
You know,
yeah.
Like they're good natured, they're fun.
I'm gonna change my 3 words.
Yeah, what are your 3 now?
From quirky short king to quiddish short king.
Quiddish short king. Yep. You are a quiddish
And I think
king.
that'll make the difference.
Yeah.
I think people really see something in me now.
Yep, this is it. Kyle's going to be married in the next episode.
We're having the wedding in the next episode.
Yeah, it's going to be it's like the season finale. Let's do a wedding. Kyle, that's what I got on quiddity and a million other words close to it.
It's so good, Emily. I love the whatness of what. And the thisness of this and the thatness of that.
Thank you, Dr. Seuss.
Of that and the thatness of this. Yeah. It's really, I really is Lewis Carroll-y, you know?
Yes, it is. I wouldn't be shocked if he used this word somewhere.
It's great because it's got like a surface level, like, that's fun, but also a deep level, like, this is about the essence of being.
Yes. Yeah, and you get to pick which one you want to use in a sentence.
All right, here we go. And so, so hexiody was thisness, and that was for like individual things. Yeah. But quiddity is for like, for like concepts.
But you could probably use quiddity on an individual level anyway. As we've established, you can use it for anything.
For anything. No one's going to know what it means anyway, so just throw it in there. So, quiddity. When it boils down to it, the quiddity of dating apps is the worst part about dating apps.
Just the very nature of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. The unfortunate quiddity of dating apps. Perfect usage. Love it.
Great word. And wow, the SEO text for this episode just writes itself.
I'm sure. Kyle, you want to play a game?
Let's play a game.
Okay. Your game today is called Not quite. So, Kyle, the English language employs plenty of Latin phrases. Quid pro quo is one. These phrases often have a literal translation, in this case, what for what, and an understood meaning, which is this for that. That's the way we use it. For this game, I will first give you the exact translation of a Latin phrase. If you need to, you can ask for the modern meaning. I want you to give me the Latin phrase.
Oof, okay.
But
All
you
right.
got it. These will be phrases you've heard.
Okay.
So, first one, what Latin phrase translates to for good?
For good. The
For
Latin
good.
phrase that translates to for good. Wow. I'm thinking, I can't tell you how many languages are going through my head before Latin right now.
Yeah, Kyle's got it in Japanese on lock, but that's not any help in this game.
Ooh.
Do you want me to give you the meaning, like the way we use it?
Sure, yeah.
It commonly means of a service done for free.
Oh. Au gratin.
Like a lawyer doing a
bono,
case.
Pro bono.
Very good.
Also me when we're voting for...
what U2 member you want to be president.
You got it. You got it. I'm pro bono. That's the American way to say bono, right?
Yeah, that's how we say it here. All right, next one. Kyle, what Latin phrase translates to nourishing mother?
Ooh, mother. Mother in Latin is gonna be materna. Mater. Alma mater.
Alma mater, very good. Yes, alma mater literally means nourishing mother or kind mother. But it's the college that you went to.
I went to alma mater.
Yes, that is the college that Kyle went to.
Yeah.
Next one. What Latin phrase translates to my fault?
My fault isn't Kyle's fault.
No, my fault is in Emily's fault.
Oh, yeah. Well, my in Latin, I know for a fact, is... I'm not primed for this at all. What's the translation, Emily?
Okay. It is commonly used in religious confession.
In religious confession.
Catholic confession, mostly.
Oh. They go in, they get the beads, and go, give us this day our daily bread.
This one you might just not know. I don't know.
One country, under God, amen. I don't know, Emily. What is it?
It's mea culpa.
Mea culpa. My fault.
Literally means my fault. My bad.
Yeah. My bad.
Your culpa.
It is Kyla culpa.
Kyla culpa. That's that song about the cabana, right?
Culpa. No, it doesn't work. What's the next one?
The last one I have. What Latin phrase translates to this?
Oh, to this. Okay. Quid pro quo, we said earlier, was this for that. So
And that's the way we use it. It doesn't literally mean this for that. We did talk about
Throw me a bono here.
We did talk about hexiety, which is thisness.
Okay. And the translation is what?
The literal translation is to this. It commonly means impromptu, temporary, or as needed.
Oh, ad hoc.
Ad hoc. Very good. The hake in hexiety is like a conjugation of hoc, because Latin has 9 different ways to say every word.
I like the idea that you can conjugate Spock to spexiety.
Spexiety. Kyle, that's the game. That's Quiddity. That's an episode.
What an episode, Emily. This episode was filled with so much thisness and so much thatness and so much whatness.
And so much awareness and whyness and jubilation.
And jubilation! Wow. Honestly, What a point for us to go out on and jubilate over.
Yeah.
And so remember, you guys can jubilate at home by watching us on YouTube at Butter No Parsnips, and you can find Butter No Parsnips on other social media as well, on Facebook and Instagram at Butter No Parsnips Podcast, and on TikTok at Butter No Parsnips. And if you liked today's episode as much as I did, consider giving us a 5-star rating or review wherever you heard us.
And if you really like this episode, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/butternoparsnips. Donating $5 or more gets you exclusive access to Buttered Parsnips, our after hours podcast.
Thanks so much to all of you. You help us make what we make.
And with that, I've been Emily Moyers.
And I've been Kyle Imperator, and this has been Butter No Parsnips.
Butter No Parsnips is produced by Seth Glicksman, Kyle Imperator, and me, Emily Moyers. The main and accompanying themes were composed by Kyle Imperator.